I'll say welcome to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. And welcome Jesse, who's going to kick us off this morning. Welcome, Jesse.
Hello, good morning. Let's do it. The classic, beautiful day. You all know it. Dance and sing along. Because it is a beautiful day. I look in the mirror and I see myself. I don't know how I do it every day. Standing up on this big blue rock, not knowing what I'm doing here. There's a reason, I believe it. Keep on keeping on my way. I wake up early and I see the sun. I don't know how it does it every day. It rises up and then it falls again. Born only to die away. Each time I open my eyes, that's when I get to decide how I am gonna show up and show out in this life. Everybody get up. Oh, it's a beautiful day. Everybody get up. Oh, it's a beautiful day. Get up, get up, get up, and be grateful. I'm up, say I'm up, and I'm thankful. Get up, get up, get up, and be grateful. I'm up, and I'm ready to play. Yeah, look at the clock, it's running day and night. Got no control in those little clock hands. A little soldier just marching through time. I'm so glad I am not a clock, I am alive, and I can choose to dance each time I open my eyes. That's when I get to decide how I am gonna show up and show out in this life. Cause we gotta show up and we gotta show out. Everybody get up. Oh, it's a beautiful day. Everybody get up. Oh, it's a beautiful day. Oh, get up, oh, get up, oh, get up, and be grateful. That's an order. I'm up. Say I'm up, and I'm thankful. Oh, get up, oh, get up, oh, get up, and be grateful. I'm up, and I'm ready to play. Playing all day. Everybody get up, wake up. It's a beautiful day. Rub the sleep from your eyes. Everybody, oh, get up, cause it's a beautiful day. Everybody get up, oh, cause it's a beautiful day. Everybody get up, cause it's a beautiful day.
And yes, it is. We'll say yes to that. Woo! That's lovely. And I would like to welcome Lisa Lazaro to do a little opening prayer for us. And she might have some words.
Yes. Well, why don't we pull ourselves together with that wonderful sense of get up, it's a wonderful day. And knowing that it's a wonderful day that Spirit has given us, that we have the opportunity to make a choice to bless it and to bless the people in our life and to create that level of joy and play that song implies that we can have, no matter what we feel like we look like in the mirror. And so anyway, knowing that there is only one life and that we are that life and that we each are an individual piece of the puzzle of life, that we each have a role to play and that we don't have to play each other's role, but that we are guided to be that expression of spirit that is our innate soul's calling. And that is because we are each an individual expression of the one life, the one energy that flows through everything in the world. all of the beasts and the humans and the stones and the leaves and the seeds, everything is a part of that whole that we are a piece of, and that we all are connected with one another and have gifts to give one another. And it's like we're all brothers and sisters of the same family. And so knowing that this is so, I speak my word for oneness, which is the topic today, that always inspires my love and my attention in this world that has so many different expressions of life, and being able to find that one core central link that ties all of us together, that is the spirit and the light and the love that is the soul of creation. And so I release my word, knowing it is done, and knowing I speak it into the law, and knowing that each of us is blessed by the experience of oneness and the opportunity to recognize it, that is given to us by belonging to one heart, one mind, and by the guidance of Reverend Michelle. So I release my word into the law, and I release by saying, and so it is.
And so it is.
So anyway, I had lots of different thoughts this week in terms of oneness, because that and in terms of, because I like to look at things and see what other people are saying and so forth. And so the most recent thing, which I think will give you a laugh, is that I hit the the internet and put in "We Are One," and the first thing that pops up is this song by Pitbull, which is "We Are One," and it was the song for the World Cup. And it's like it's so great to see an expression like that in a thing that is so seems to be so far away from what we would say is spiritual, as he's dancing there with these half-dressed girls that are kind of twerking. And it's just a whole different way of looking at things. But it was, it's like then they flashed to the crowd, and the crowd is just all, we're one, and there are many different countries there. And so anyway, that was one thing. And then I realized, that the same kind of feeling I had at the interfaith service last week, in terms of having all these different expressions of faith, and underlying it all, that spirit of connection and love and joy, even at being together. And that to me was a real level of oneness. Then in another way, I had what was it? On the YouTube, there was something, the law of divine oneness, which is the essential truth of the foundation of life. Basically, that everything in the universe is connected. That includes the stars, the planets, stones, nature, everything. And that we are also, too, are connected to this source and force. And there are connections that we just never see. We don't even know where what we're now calling our vibration, how far out it reaches in terms of connecting us to everything. So it's important that we pay attention to what we're sending out into the world, because it makes a difference, truly makes a difference. So, and then we also need to be aware of separation. And separation is not necessarily a thing. It's something we create. It is the behaviors and actions that we take out of fear, shame, anger, guilt, or judgment. And so that's why it's so important to begin to find a mindset of love and forgiveness, and be coming from the heart more than the mind, essentially. And so then and in terms of thinking of my own experience with oneness with spirit, I had an experience a long time. The first time I really had this kind of experience, it was, I had been at a breakfast, and the guest speaker was an Indian medicine woman, and she had us chanting. And it's like after the chanting was over, because I was in a wonderful space, and I went to the cove because it was in La Jolla. And I went to the cove, and I was standing on the grass there, and it was like all of a sudden I was one with the universe. I was a bird who was flying. I mean, it's like I can't really even articulate it, but it was that divine sense of truly being connected to the universe. And I think a number of you also have had that kind of an experience. And it does kind of change your life in terms of how you look at other people and the rest of the world. So anyway, what else do I have here? Okay, the last thing I want to share is related to well, one thing I want to say is gratitude, about gratitude. And looking at gratitude, I realize that gratitude is a path to oneness, or can be a path to oneness. You know, you can be grateful for your new car, but it's like as you begin to expand your level of gratitude, it's like when you begin to expand it to other people, it it creates that level of connection with other people, or with nature, for instance, if you're doing that. But the final thing I wanted to talk about was related to my own Thanksgiving, and the fact that it was a wonderful family gathering, and two of the important people were not there: my grandniece Cassie and her brother Lawrence, and they both had gone to Thanksgiving with their spouses. And I think most of you know that my grandniece Cassie is pregnant, and she's due to deliver in January. So essentially, her brother Lawrence had said that he was going to go to his girlfriend's this year because he wanted to be here next year for the baby's first Christmas. And he also told us by phone, or no, I guess it was shared with me anyway, he's already taken CPR so that he can babysit the new baby. And it's like I realized my whole family is just in this space of connection, of love and energy for this child that's coming in. And it's going to be the first grandchild for a bunch of the people involved. And I think my brother's going to jump out of his skin, to tell you the truth. But at any rate, the connection of it, and it was so. What I thought about was how that's the way it is for babies. Everybody, unless they have a problem, is connected with a baby. You just see a baby and you feel something, and you have no judgment for the baby, and the baby is sort of engaged with love. And it's like I think we have to try and hold on to that as that person gets to be older, or just to flash back and remember what a beautiful little creature it is, who is just there as a part of the circle of life, and some other part of us to be connected with. And so that's basically what I had to say today, I think. And that there's just, well, I think the other thing was then, which comes back from my experience with kids, was the importance of that love in the beginning of a child's life, and how it totally frames them, which then make me think of Renata and the gift that she gives all the time. I'm sorry. It just moves me truly, that because of the care that she gives to those little foster babies, and gives them the love that is not available in person at that point in time, with the hopes that the person that needs to be parenting will get themselves together. But at least in the beginning, they get what they need to get a good start. So that's it. I'm just full of love today.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, sweetheart. Oh, well, wonderful things to say. Beautiful, excellent prequel to the talk.
Oh, good.
Perfect. Thank you, sweetie.
You're welcome.
And now, Jessie.
Bonjour. Let's all take a deep breath together. Inhale. Exhale. That love is... It's so funny. I was thinking this last night. I was thinking, we all think that the core of life is like this redemption arc, that we have to earn that love and approval somehow, and that's like the reason we're here. And it's so silly because it's already here. The love is already here, and we can feel it in our breath, we can feel it in our heartbeat. So I just invite you to welcome that in and breathe with me. I don't want to give words to this. Anything you have to interpret will only eclipse the heart of it. I just want to send it in sound with a wavelength clarity. Nothing I could ever say will resonate the same way that this love does in me. Inhale, exhale, breathe. Somewhere in the beat of your heart, there I am. And somewhere underneath all the war-torn believing, there you have always been. It's something like a melody, it's something like a song, and it sings itself and it's never wrong. Oh, everywhere it plays for me, it's always on repeat. It's the love song of everything. Inhale, exhale, breathe. It's not just there in my body. It's not just there in the thoughts that I think. It's there in the roots, in the skies and the seas, in the eyelids, the irises, the wind and the wings, in the will be, the ever was, the reason and the just because. I am the song that I sing. Inhale, exhale, breathe.
Oh, so lovely. Really. I almost don't want to speak. It's so meditative. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Jessie. It's such a gift. I just love it when you come. Oh, so let's just take a moment. And breathe that in. So lovely. So again, I want to say good morning and welcome to One Heart, One Mind, Center for Spiritual Living. In real time or replay, you're welcome in this space, and we're so happy that you're here. You know, this month we've been focused on seeing God in everything as Lisa reminded us so well of seeing God in absolutely everything. We've been seeing God in the mundane, in the everyday stuff, and the things we call sacred, in everything. I spoke about grace, which is our willingness to be open to see God in all things and to receive the good that Spirit infinitely gives us. And last Sunday, we moved into Thanksgiving in the holiday season, and I spoke about how gratitude keeps that natural flow of giving and receiving alive in our lives. How gratitude is an attitude of living, a creative consciousness. It opens us up to what's possible in infinite mind, in divine mind. And this morning, what I kind of like to do is kind of pull it all together by recognizing that all of this is true because everything is connected. Everything exists within the one. The mundane stuff, the sacred stuff, all the stuff. We are one with life, and life is one with us. And we're inseparable. We're inseparable from our source. We are living in this oneness. And it empowers us to bring meaning, to bring love, to bring true joy into our human lives. We're empowered to wake up our awareness of God, our awareness of the divine presence that's all around us, and to really experience it, up close and personal, to experience the divine in everything. I wanted to tell a story. You might have heard stories with that character from Muslim folklore called Malala Nasruddin. He's known as a philosopher and a jokester, and there's all kinds of stories with him in it. But one of these stories has Nasruddin resting under a huge, luscious walnut tree. He's been traveling, and he sits down to rest. And as he rests, he's taking in the scenery around him, and he sees the big field in front of him with these big, huge pumpkins that are growing on these really delicate vines. You know how pumpkins have these really kind of thin vines, and the vines are snaking across the field. And then he looks up into the walnut tree, and he sees these tiny little walnuts growing in this big, sturdy, strong tree. And he notes to himself how strange Mother Nature is, that plump pumpkins should grow on such spindly little vines, and tiny little walnuts grow on this strong, mighty tree. And right about that time, a walnut falls out of the tree and lands right on the top of his head. And he looks up at the tree, and then he looks over at the field with the pumpkins, and he says to himself, "Oh, Mother Nature, you are so wise." And we can see and experience the wisdom of nature all around us in the natural world. And I don't know about you, but when I witness it, it tends to kind of reconnect me with that innate wisdom that's within me, because I know that the same source that's running through all of nature is running through me. Runs through everything. And I know that it kind of gives me this sense of belonging, of a belonging to life, that I have a place in all of this, that my life matters, and that I'm empowered to receive fully these gifts that life is offering all around me. And I'm also empowered to give, to contribute to life, through my thoughts and my feelings and my actions in the world. We receive from this connection, and we have this incredible opportunity to give through this connection. I was thinking that when Jessie was playing, what a lovely way to give to life. She gives from her music. We all give in some way. Renetta through her tending the children, Yvonne through her contribution with the announcements and all the things she does for our center, and Rob, and all of us. We give. We have this incredible opportunity to give to life, and this never ends. It's just this cycle, and we do it through grace and with deep gratitude. I was talking to my daughter the other day. We had this really unusually long conversation. It was about an hour and a half. Usually our conversations are much shorter because she has a couple of kids. So And I was talking to her the other day about the state of the world. We were talking about the wars that are raging, and we started talking about this trend toward authoritarianism that we're seeing around the world, and started talking about climate change. And she was lamenting that she doesn't want to leave her children or anyone's children this kind of world, the kind of world that she sees all around us. And I said that I understood, and that I didn't want to disregard her feelings. I wanted to be with her because her feelings are valid, but I didn't want us to get discouraged, and I didn't want us to feel helpless in the conversation. I wanted to move us beyond what is and into what's possible, without being too unrealistic. But I wanted us to start seeing that we can hold a better vision of our future. And so then we started talking about how empowered we actually are, that we can begin making changes right where we are in our own lives right now. And then that can be a catalyst for change in other people, that we can contribute positively to the trend of things in our individual consciousness, in our attitude about life, in the way we engage with others, in the way that we treat the natural world, in the way that we teach our children. We talked about how powerful it is to be an example of connection, of care, to show that we can live in oneness with our source and with each other and with the environment through an example of our own lives. And how this realization of our oneness and our connection can motivate, inspire others to make changes. Because the truth is that what we take care of, what we love, we treat well, and we love what we're connected to. So it is our connection and a realization of our oneness that we begin to love and that we begin to care. And that begins with us in our own lives. And then it ripples out towards the larger organism of humanity, towards life, into the collective human mind, into the one mind of God that we're all thinking into, that we all live in. And I truly believe that it's this kind of connectivity, this kind of care that will ultimately motivate change on a grander level. Because, as I said, we take care of things we feel connected to and things we love. And our oneness draws us into that connectedness and into loving everything. I was listening to Tara Brach the other day. I love her. She has some wonderful talks and meditations. And she quoted a biologist named Lewis Thomas. I'd never really heard of him before. But apparently he wrote extensively about the lives of cells that make up our human bodies. And his example kind of helped me understand how intimately connected we actually are to everything in every way. Lewis said that all the parts of a living cell had to exist first, before the cell could exist. Things like, the mitochondria and the centrioles and the basal bodies, all those parts of the cells that we learned about in high school biology, they all had to exist first for the cell to exist at all. And without all these working parts working together, we wouldn't be able to think or to communicate or to move. I have a quote by him. Lewis wrote, I love this idea. We are shared, rented, and occupied by countless other tiny organisms without whom we couldn't move a muscle, drum a finger, or think a thought. I think about all of the little bacteria and all the little organisms that live in us that help us to be healthy and to be who we are. And Tara Brach also noted that these organisms themselves are mostly made up of earth. They're more non-human than human. And all organisms are made up of both smaller organisms and larger bodies. And she noted that in essence, our whole planet is like this one giant breathing cell. And it's all these working parts that are connected, they're linked together. And the same is true for the entire universe. We've talked about this before. We know that the very elements that make up the atoms of our body, that make up everything, they were born in the incubators of the stars. And we tend to think of ourselves as like these separate beings, but we're all connected in every way. And nothing can exist without everything else. And to see yourself as separate is just folly. I mean, it's just not true. You know, the late Vietnamese Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh coined a term in the 1960s called interbeingness. Actually, I have that quote too, Donna. And he just used interbeingness to describe how we're all interconnected and to help us see interbeingness not as some abstract idea, but to feel it and to live it. You know, he shared this teaching, and I know I've shared this before, actually, but you know, I do that sometimes. Some things are just worth retelling. But Thich Nhat Hanh wrote this. He said, he held up a piece of paper, piece of white paper, and he said, if you are a poet, you will see clearly that there is a cloud floating in this sheet of paper. Without a cloud, there would be no rain. Without rain, the trees could not grow. And without trees, we cannot make paper. The cloud is essential for the paper to exist. If the cloud is not here, the sheet of paper cannot be here either. So we can see, and here's what I love. So we can say that the cloud and the paper inter-are. Oh, I really connect with that term, inter-are. It's so descriptive. We inter-are with life. And while I believe all of this is true, and I love thinking about it and pondering about it, it would be pretty difficult for us to move through our day constantly thinking and focusing on how our bodies are shared, rented, and occupied by countless tiny organisms, or that the clouds in the paper inter-are, or that our experiences in each moment are created by infinite unfolding expressions of life, that we're not an independent organism at all. How could we ever get any business of life done, of being human, if that's all we thought about? But for me, the thing is that it must become the way, the attitude in which we live our lives. It's wildly important for us to live from an overall attitude of oneness, an overall understanding that we belong to a larger life, that we're connected, and that what we think and feel and say and mean and be, it matters, that we are powerful parts of the whole. And it's so important for us to be aware that what we contribute matters because we're one. Truly, we are one. And I really believe that we're living in a very interesting time right now, that human consciousness is evolving as it always has, but that things are coming up for us as humanity that are inviting us kind of to an accelerated shift, to a new way of thinking and feeling and being. Humanity, I believe, is being called individually and collectively to understand that where our power lies is in our connectedness, in our oneness. It's power with each other, not power over each other. We're being called to feel, to live our oneness, and to kind of see that illusion of duality in the physical world, to see that fade away, to see beyond it. And that it's in our oneness that all our power resides. And even though we look around the world and we see what kind of looks like mass complacency, you know, kind of a mass hypnosis, if you will, a hesitance to change, or maybe it's just not knowing how to change, we must know that there's a larger people, a larger movement of people. There's a larger group of people that are willing and ready and beginning to see in new ways, who are thinking in new ways and feeling in new ways and contributing in new ways, even while the world can look kind of grim. There are more and more of us who are holding a vision of the world that can be. A world that expresses God's wholeness and love and compassion, God's equality and peace, and an unlimited expression of love and light. And I believe that it's just as easy to be complacent and helpless as it is to feel a part of something larger. We can let go of the complacency and the feeling helplessness when we start feeling more at one, more a part of that larger thing that sources everything. We're like this one giant life organism. When we fall in love with the source of life, when we fall in love with ourselves, when we fall in love with each other, when we fall in love with the natural world, when we feel a sense of that connection, and I'd like to call it an intimacy with life, then we feel inspired. We feel motivated to move and to let go of any sense of complacency or helplessness that we may have experienced. And that moves us into a sense of empowerment. A sense that we're not alone in this. We're all connected. Got another funny story. Well, it's a cute story. There's a story about a man, and he's driving through the country, and it's very, very foggy. And he accidentally drives off the road, and he gets stuck in a ditch. He's not hurt, but his car is stuck in the mud. And so he walks to a nearby farm, and he sees the farmer there, and he asks the farmer, hey, can you help me? And the farmer says, hey, no problem. Warwick can get you out. And the guy looks over at this mule that's standing out in the field. The old mule looks kind of tired. And the guy's thinking, I don't know if this mule's really up to it. But the farmer insists that Warwick can do the job. So the two men and Warwick head back to the ditch where the car is stuck. And the farmer hitches the mule to the car. And with a snap of the rein, the farmer says, pull, Fred, pull, Jack, pull, Ted, pull, Warwick. And the mule pulls the car right out of the ditch. And the man's amazed. And he asks the farmer, why'd you call all those other names before you said Warwick? And the farmer says, well, poor old Warwick, he's almost blind. But as long as he thinks he's part of a team, he doesn't want to play at all. So Warwick thought he was connected to something larger than himself. And the deep truth in this is that when we trust that we belong to something bigger, bolder, beautiful, when we trust that we're part of something magnificent, we feel enlarged. We feel supported. We become more open. And we begin to allow the wisdom and the energy, the good of the universe to kind of seep through us. We trust and we have faith in ourselves as participants with something larger. We create a kind of intimacy, and I love that idea of being intimate with life, of having it be so personal to us. That intimacy causes us to say yes to life. I read somewhere that Krishnamurti, the Indian spiritual teacher, he said that if you choose a rock and you place it somewhere in your home and you visit that rock every day and you give it all your attention for just a few minutes, in a few weeks, it will become a sacred rock to you because you'll be in conscious relationship with it. And as metaphysicians, we know this is true. If we give something our attention, we flow energy to that something. And that attention connects us, it bonds us, it merges us with a thing. And since everything is God, there is something in that rock or that tree or that river or that other person that we recognize and resonate with it because we are one. We're one. And there's so many ways that we can nurture our oneness and our connection to the whole of life, so that we can live in a more deep connection with each other, with everything in our daily lives. As we get on with the business of being human, we live from that attitude, from that knowing. And one of the ways is through our daily spiritual practice. I have for years meditated every morning. And most of these years, I've gone within and connected with the expansiveness of consciousness of mind. And oftentimes, I kind of feel myself, Lisa was talking about this, feel myself expanding out into the vastness and being connected. And I imagine that I can see the infinite possibility that's already there. I feel connected to all of the aspects of the divine that I want to draw forward, into my daily human experience. And it's a wonderful meditation. But lately, I've taken to doing something slightly different. I kind of did it in our meditation this morning. Instead of moving my consciousness, which, honestly, it's nothing really more than just where we put our attention, I've taken to moving my attention inward in a recognition that consciousness, the mind of God that we're thinking into, is infinite in all directions. And I can imagine it expanding outward, and I can also imagine it expanding inward. And so I go deeply into the infinite space within me, realizing that the very atoms of my body are mostly made up of space, not empty space, because nothing is actually empty, but what I like to call God space. That open space within the atoms of my body. What I think, I read that Dispenza said that it's 99.9999 something empty space in the inside of the atom. So within these like little subatomic particles, that God space is really nothing more than a playground of potential. It's an ocean of information, just like the infinite mind of God. And it will respond to what I focus on, because I'm that point of consciousness, and I'm noticing. I'm empowered to focus on the energy of whatever it is I want to draw forward. Wholeness, vitality, peace, love. That's what's in the God space. And I can bring that forward. We all can bring that forward. We're empowered by our infinite connection to the God space that looks like a human body, but really isn't, to draw forward what we want to draw forward in the infinite vastness of consciousness, inward or outward, however we want to look at it. And the other thing that I find deeply empowering is focusing my attention on my fellow humans. It's so easy to think of myself as this lone ranger, who's going to ride into town with my silver bullet. But the truth is, sorry, we're all in this thing called life together. Yes, we're all individualized expressions. It's true. We bring our uniqueness forward. I love that. But we're also one living organism, which is a good thing, because I have no idea how to build an airplane or transplant a heart, but I can grow you a killer garden or teach your child to read. This is power with, not power over. We are one. I was watching an old video of Thich Nhat Hanh holding a flower, and he was talking about this idea of interbeingness. And he spoke about how the sun and the soil inter-are with the flower, that they are all needed to express the beauty of God in the flower. We all inter-are with each other. Oh, I love that term. We inter-are with our families, our friends, our spiritual communities. We inter-are with those that have wildly opposing views to ours. We inter-are with those that we see as the problem, and with those that see us as the problem. We're not alone. We inter-are. There's a huge power in the collective consciousness, and we are always adding our thinking, our feeling to the collective consciousness. And we can contribute a recognition of our oneness, of forgiveness, of peace, until we reach that tipping point. I'm reminded of that story of the 100 monkeys. But when all things kind of tumble into that oneness of infinite love, into the vision that we hold now, that we're empowered to hold now, for a world that is an expression of God, that is heaven on earth. And we don't have to wait to do that. We can do that right now. all together, individually, we can do that right now. So let's move into prayer. Oh, we are inter-are with the divine. We cannot be anything else. We are in one. We are in the one life. It is the very God space within our bodies, what look like bodies, bouncing energy vibrations. There's nothing that is not God. We are it. So I speak my word for and about each and every person that is present on this call and each and every person that is not, that there is a recognition, a shift, a knowing, a feeling, a being, that oneness, and an invitation to allow the goodness through the flow of grace, through our openness of gratitude, to flow into our world through us, that we may be these divine emissaries, drawing forward the goodness, the beauty, the grace, the wonder of God itself. So I'm so grateful for the ability to share this power with you in our inter-arness. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. We release this word, knowing it's already so. And together we say, and so it is. Oneness, inter-are. Don't you love that term, inter-are? I just thought, I read that in his work. Thich Nhat Hanh has a book called Interbeingness. And I ran across that term and I thought, oh my God, that is perfect. Inter-are. That's what we are. What a wonderful way to describe our oneness. So let's see. I'm not, Lisa, are you doing the, Rob. Okay, Rob.
I ran into the bedroom halfway through your talk just to see, and lo and behold, there I was. Hey,
That's the wrong one. There it is.
there it is. So if you, last Tuesday was Giving Tuesday, and if you missed Giving Tuesday, do not feel bad. We so got your back. We're declaring today to be Giving Sunday. So you can give to One Heart, One Mind through Venmo. And if you feel like sending Michelle a letter, you can say something nice and include a check, and she would love both of those. So in any event, the address is there on the screen, and we also have a giving affirmation, which is, Michelle's got to push a few more buttons, but oh, wait a minute, there it is. You have to click on that thing on the bottom there it is. Voila. And you can join me in saying everything flows from the nature of God's good. We receive from this flow, we give from this flow. We give in gratitude and in love. We have faith in the infinite giving nature of spirit, and so it is. And
Thank you, Rob. So Yvonne is going to give us a couple of announcements.
I am starting with Monday evening prayer group, and you can join us on Zoom from 6 to 6:20 as we pray together in silence for our center and also for world peace. Tuesday evening, spiritual learning circle. Pay attention to this part. We're back to 6 o'clock as opposed to 6:30. 6 o'clock on Tuesday. And we'll be discussing chapter 9, Life is for You, from Mary O'Leary's book, What's in the Way is the Way. And then morning prayer circle is hosted by Ray Lane Clark and is Wednesday at 10 o'clock on Zoom. And finally, remember, don't forget about unexpected income. And you won't, if you don't expect it, you're not going to have it. And we've got it all handled with Nan. Nan's got it worked out. So, so that's it from me.
And let me add that this last Tuesday is going to be, we're going to wind up What's in the Way is the Way. We have received all the blessings from this book that we can.
Yeah.
And on December 12th, Relaine Clark and I are going to start an exploration of spiritual mind treatment using a little book by John Waterhouse called The 5 Steps to Freedom, which is a sweet little book. And because I know we have some beginners and some more advanced practitioners in our group, we're going to dive a little more deeply into each step of treatment and really talk about the spiritual principles that are behind it. So I'm looking forward to that, which I know Relaine has been doing in her Wednesday prayer group as well. But anyway, so that'll be on the 12th of December. And then we'll take a little break for the holidays and we'll get back into it. Thanks for letting me crash your announcements.
Michelle, do you know what book you'll start with in the new year by any chance?
Well, we'll probably continue I think we're going to do like 4 or 5 weeks of the 5 Steps to Freedom. But no, we haven't really
Okay.
Landed on a brand new book.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, thanks. Let's see. We're going to go back to Rob and invite him to do the benediction, and then we'll hear from Jesse one more time.
All righty. So this is our opportunity to wrap this up in spirit, in the knowing. And I am so grateful for this opportunity to come together and to know the truth and to see the truth that even though we may see discord in politics, we may see discord, extreme discord in the world, and we may see upsets in our own lives, the fact of the matter is so obvious that anything that appears negative is so short term. It is so short term in the mind of God. It has come and it will come to pass. And I am so grateful for the good that is inevitable in every one of our lives, every single time, in every single circumstance. Thank you, God. Thank you for this opportunity to be with one another and to know the good in which we live. I am so grateful for this wonderful universe, for this wonderful assembly, for this wonderful little organization of one heart, one mind in which we share. I am so grateful for this Sunday that we have come together. I am letting this be, I am letting it go, and together we say, and so it is.
All right. Well, I was going to play something else, but then that prayer just inspired me to play this one. So thank you, Rob. This is like a little love letter from that infinite flow of good to you and your mind that sometimes forgets the truth. You like that? I just wrote that little rhyme just now. Sometimes I get a glimpse of what happens in your head, and I gotta say that it sounds so ridiculous. It makes me wonder if you understand how blessed I've been feeling being with you. 'Cause you got this way of carrying the light, just like a prism giving rainbows to people passing by, projecting technicolor dreams before my eyes. You just radiated, ain't it beautiful? And you got me so good that you could go and break my heart in two, and I would probably smile in awe of all of the beautiful ways that you do you. So baby, you better get used to it. My love ain't going nowhere. It starts as a spark, now my heart won't quit. My love ain't going nowhere. And your cup's too small and it all won't fit. My love ain't going nowhere. Better go to Home Depot, get a whole bucket, 'cause my love ain't going nowhere. Y'all know that's my favorite part. I love to witness you in all your humanness, 'cause I get to see the things in me that you reflect. I get to reel and get this feeling in my chest. I'm in love, baby, with every little piece of you. Oh, you got me so good that you could go and leave me in the dust, and I'd be delighted to find there was more of you that I get to love. So baby, you better get used to it, 'cause my love ain't going nowhere. It starts as a spark, now my heart won't quit. My love ain't going nowhere. And your cup's too small and it all won't fit. My love ain't going nowhere. Better go to Home Depot, get a whole bucket, 'cause my love ain't going nowhere. Cause life is so good. Ooh, if only we could see it, if only we could feel it, if only we could be it all the time. Baby, stop playing like you ain't amazing, blazing with beauty and truth. Somebody heard me praying, craving, waiting years for a love like you. Baby, stop playing like you ain't amazing, blazing with beauty and truth. Somebody heard me praying, craving, waiting years for a love like you. Waited years for a love like you, but waited forever for a love like you. Waited forever for a human like you. Waited forever for years like you. Waited years for a love like you.
Woo! I love that. Thank you, Jesse.